Hi everyone, welcome back to Tableau training campaign. Before we start today's session, which is session number 2, I would like to give a quick recap of session number 1 contents. Just in case if you didn't watch session number 1, I recommend that you go first and watch it before going to session number 2. So this was a high level, this is a high level introduction about session number 1 content. We covered we went through the introduction and installation and getting started, like for example, what kind of Tableau platform overview we have now. And we also have a walkthrough over the overall training content in case if you would like to know what we are planning to cover in the complete training. Then we go through how to install the Tableau public and Tableau desktop, which is the paid and free one. Then we went through how to connect your data, and I give a quick overview about our working data. Then we covered all the remaining rest here, as you can see, navigating Tableau, just to give some explanation about Tableau dashboard or Tableau navigation in general. And the main idea of session number 1, it was kind of, I called it a quick accelerator, because it's an accelerator session, because I almost cover the most important information that you can from only one session. You can at least start building your charts and get a solid fundamental understanding how to build like charts and dashboards about in Tableau. However, we didn't cover any details yet. So in today's video, which is session number 2, we'll go a bit deeper, exploring topics like, as you can see here, this is the content of session number 2, like, for example, what is the meaning of data live versus data extract. And also we give some, again, go through some of navigating Tableau, like, for example, how to change the type in Tableau, how to change the aggregation, and also how to do some formatting. And the most important is related to most used charts, as you can see here, for example, how to create area charts either in distribution phase, or for example using different measures, or either calculated fields. This is have kind of different methods. I'll be explaining both of them. Also, I'll be explaining how to make a histogram chart, and also what it means by bins, and how to create bins, and also how to edit the bins. Also how to create tables, either text tables or just to have highlighted tables in Tableau. Also in general, this I will be covering the tables in here today. Also, this one will be a bit, it's not creating a CDF in Tableau. It's not a straightforward, yet it's easy to do in Tableau. So this one I will be explaining today. Then we have multiple ad hoc topics, like, for example, how to do some formatting, how to create groups, and when you create groups, how to calculate the average, and how to add average line per group, and so on, and also constant lines and the reference line, and multiple others. So this will be today's video's content. So now let's move forward to see what we have today. So the first part I would like to start today, it's about how to create area chart and area distribution charts. You can see, for example, here the name of my sheet is called area charts and area distribution charts, and whatever name you add here, it will come in the title of the sheet, as I described before. So now let's explain this part. As I highlighted, there are different methods, which is, first of all, maybe you can directly click in the show me in the top here, for example, just to see how you can do it. So let me click and show me. Then in show me, you have the area chart, which is this one, right? So you have area continuous. So here, for example, when you hover over the area, you'll find in the bottom left here that you need to add, for example, date, measure, and dimension. For example, in case of color. So you have 3 inputs as highlighted here. Here you have 3 inputs: a date, right? Measure, and column. As I highlighted before, this dates is telling you need to add it in the column, which here, as you can see in the top, it's having almost the same icon, right? And the measure means the measure need to add in the rows. Then you have the dimension that need to add in the color, as you can see here. So for example, you would like to have an area chart between the traffic and between different areas. For example, as I mentioned before, dimension, the blue one is the dimension, measure, the green area is the measures. And this is what we need to do now. So let's try to plot this and see how we can get this information now. So as highlighted, first you need to drag and drop the date in the columns, right? then as I highlighted, better to make the date as exact date to collect the exact date here. Then afterwards, you need to drag and drop measure or measure into the rows, right? So I will take the measure now, which is a measure I would like, for example, to take the downlink traffic here. Okay. Then, yeah, now I have the downlink traffic. Now it's coming as a line chart, right? So you can change this one. If you are doing manually like this, you need to go to the here, the area, this one, the marks, right? So here the marks. Then in the marks, you need to select into this part, which is called automatic, right? Then once you click here, it will give you all the figures or the shapes you would like to get. For example, here you have the area chart, as you can see here, right? You have your area chart now. So now if I click again and get area chart, this will change my chart into area. Let me hide the show me. Now you have it into area. If you remember in the show me, it mentioned that to get it like with different stacked with different, for example, regions, we can drop something into the color here, into this one, the color. So, but it should be dimension. For example, if I'm going to drop the dimension, let's assume I would like to get it per region. Like, for example, what is the traffic distribution per region? For example, here, this is the total traffic through area chart, which showing, for example, 160k gigabyte. So now I need to show see what is the traffic distribution per region. So I need to click in region, which is in the dimension, the blue one, drag and then drop it in color. So now you will see that you have it in dimension. So you know that the highest share, for example, is from north or N, then east, then you have the central, then you have the south region, which is almost nothing here. Okay, so now what else we would like to do? This is first of all how to create a normal and a quick area chart. What if you would like to get it into a percentage? Assume that you would like now to know what is a percentage for each of these regions. For example, from the total traffic. Let's assume the total traffic is 160k, right? So we'd like to know what is the share of E or C or N or S, right? So you can first of all create a double chart, like multiple charts here. So I will duplicate the chart here in the bottom right. So you can have two methods, either to take this one, drag it and drop it again, the same metric, so it will be created again, or you can remove it here and you can from the same metric on the top here, the same one which you have it already, just as a shortcut you can click control, then drag it and drop it here, so it will come here again. So now this is the exact same figure, right? So now I would like to change this one to be as a percentage. How you can do this one? In this case, you would like to use something called as you can see, if you right click here, something called add table calculation or quick table calculation. These two. So if I click, for example, the quick table calculation, I make it percent of the total, right? This is what we are looking for. We need to divide each of the region divided by the total traffic used, right? So to get the distribution. So let's try first to also see what it means by percent of total. So if I get it here, like, see, it's not accurate. It's just giving, it should be 100%, right? Up to 100%. That's why I recommend, for example, right click again. And usually you should go for the other one. Let me make back here. If I would like to remove this step, so I will click in here or just click Control Z. So if I, for example, right click again and you have a quick table or add table calculation. Add table calculation is using also the table calculation, but you can specify a few things which I will explain now to be able to get the accurate calculation. So for example, now click it. So now you see the calculation type. So we need it first of all, as we highlighted, I need to get percent of total, right? Now the question is, see, now it's giving the same distribution, right? So from what you would like to get the percent of total, you have different things: table across, table down, table cell. I'll explain all of them later on, but usually you would like to get the percent of total for the region, right? This dimension. So in this case, you just need to, for this particular case, you would like to click in a specific dimension, then you can just click into region only, just to specify the region. So he understand now, he would like to divide the C divided by the old region, so he get you the accurate distribution, as you can see here now. So now it's done. Now you got the distribution between the regions. So this one, for example, the first one, let's have C have 4.336. This one, the E have 32.63 for the total traffic distribution, and the last one have around 62.52, which is N region, right? So this is how we can get the area distribution charts and percentage as I highlighted. Now let's go to the other method. For example, now I would like next as an area chart, I would like to get the distribution between two metrics here. For example, here we split the dimension, the color by dimension by C and E and N and S, right? What if I would like to get, for example, the distribution by two existing K measures? Assume that in the left side here, I have the traffic of something called NSA, which is non-standalone, and you have the traffic of standalone. And you would like to know what is the current distribution in terms of area chart as this one for the NSA, and also what is the percentage of NSA traffic, how you can do this in Tableau. This will be the next one. So now let's move to the next sheet. Now the second method about area chart distribution, and it's kind of a tricky, especially if you are first time to work with Tableau, you might get confused. For example, now assume that you would like to have an area chart to see the distribution of the traffic or of these two K measures, which is the measure name, which is called 5G non-standalone downlink traffic volume and the 5G SA, which is called the standalone traffic volume. So you have two different measures, which is measures in green. You would like to check the distribution using the date between both of them. So again, you can, if you tried the normal method through clicking in the top right here, which is show me, for example, again, if you click and show me, so if you click in the measure, it needs date, measure, and dimension, okay? But now would like just to have between two different measures. So in this case, we might not need the dimension here. We'll need it, but I will explain, but it will not be direct from these kind of dimensions. So let me show you what we can get. First of all, assume that click in the whatever you need. You need these two, right? And you need the date as highlighted. So if you click here, and this one, it will directly create the measure for you. For example, I just select here and I click in the area chart. So this is how you can get it. So first of all, let's convert the date into exact. Exact just to get all the minimum granularity, which is by day. So you'll get, for example, from 21 December 2024 till 22 January. I explained before how to change date format. This can fit two different methods. So you can just right click and to click in format here. So once you click in format, it will show you like the dates in the left side here. So if you click in dates, you can get whatever format you would like to get. For example, here I will click this one, which is having the month, day, then for example the year. So I'll click this one. So you'll see in the bottom right, the format has been changed here. Or also, yeah, you can use any other as you can go. So now see the first trick here. Once we plotted both the metrics, we click both of them. It's just coming as two different KPIs. So we need both of them stacked on each other, right? To see the distribution, the area chart distribution. So for example, if you tried the method which I explained before about the dual axis, for example, if I click in this SA downlink traffic volume, right click, then I make dual axis. See, now it's coming as a stacked, okay? So kind of can be working like this, but this is not actually very accurate because they are not stacked on each other. Even if I try to align this one, maybe it will give kind of accurate. Fine, it can be used with different axes. But what if you would like to get both of them in the same axis, and also how to get it with distribution or percentage? So this can be one method to do it like this, this way. Can work, as you can see here. I just make it with dual axis. This is one way around. So let's move it again and try to say you from beginning how to do it with the second methods. So once I can, for example, drag and drop the measure here, NSA and the SA downlink traffic, and I drag and drop both of them here. Again, it will give the same method here, right? So we need again to right click as well. So this is actually not how the second method, it's not working like this. Now remove all of this. Now you can see in the bottom left, there is something called measure value. This measure value is kind of a design metric by Tableau itself, which is consisting all the green one. So if you drag and drop this one in the rows now, this one actually consisting of all the KPIs or all the measures you have in green in the left side. That's why you see once I drag and drop in here, it's giving you all the measure values within this left side here, right? So in this case, you would like to filter only for NSA and SA to use it for that distribution, right? So you can right click here, then make edit filter. Then, for example, you will see all your data here inside. So you just need to filter in two. So just make none. If you have too many metrics, you can just do it by search. For example, I know the metric name, so I will search. I need these two, NSA downlink and SA downlink. I'll click these two. Then I click apply. See, now it's coming, but as you can see, one of them is coming as line and the other one is coming as a tagged, and it's kind of looks like kind of unclear. This is not yet what I'm looking for, right? So first of all, you need to click and again ensure that it's working as an area chart. So since you have the measure name, this is for the measure, you will find the same measure value. You will find the same under the dimension, which is called measure name. So now if you drag and drop this one into color, see now how it's coming. It's coming, it's since you drag drop measure, you filtered only in two. Once you drag and drop in the color, you'll see in the top right here, the legend become the name of these two metrics. Let's extend it. You can just drag and drop and you can see, for example, I did like this. I drag it and drop from the top to the left side here. So for example, you have the green one is a non-standalone downlink traffic volume, and the other one is say downlink traffic volume gigabyte. Okay, so this is the second method. So you can make it with dual access, or you can make it with this one. But this, in case you would like to have it kind of in value number. Okay, now the challenge will be in the next step. If you would like to get this one in percentage, how you can do this one. The workaround for this one, you will need to create additional two metrics to follow the exact same steps, but to create additional two metrics, which is called, for example, the distribution. For example, you need to know what is the percentage of the standalone traffic divided by standalone plus non-standalone, and the same. You'd like to get the non-standalone as a percentage divided by non-standalone plus standalone. So in this case, we would like, if you recall, we need to create a calculated field to calculate the percentage in order to drag and drop the same method, but with the percentage one. Because this one here you cannot use as we did in the previous one, where whenever we use, for example, between different region. For example, last time I was clicking right click, try to do this table calculation, but this is not applicable if you have two measures being used from the left side here. So in this case, what you would like to do, as I told you, we need to create a calculated field. Let me show you an example so maybe you will understand more. So you go to the top left here, this icon, okay, arrow, bottom arrow, then click on it. Then you will see this create calculated field here. I'm highlighting with my mouse. Now click it. Now, for example, let's call this one 5G NSA traffic, downlink traffic percentage. This is just then you would like to calculate the percentage of the downlink share. For example, call it downlink traffic share. So now you'd like to calculate the traffic share for this one as a percentage y. So you need to use the sum in order to sum all the traffic, and just write the metric name, which is this one, right? You just write it, it will directly come. For example, you write 5G NSA downlink traffic, yeah, gigabyte. See, now it's coming. Then you would like to divide by what? The total, right? Which will be the same metric. You can just copy from here. Then you make plus the other metric, which is well, in this case will be the standalone, right? So you need to change this one to be the standalone. So if you go to the left side here, let me use this one just to see the complete formula. I click here in the sum, then I click enter just to get it. So now I have what? I have the NSA traffic, right? Divided by the NSA plus SA in order to get it in percentage. So you can, for example, also make it either directly with 100%, or you can just play around with the axis, y-axis, this one here, to change into percentage. It's up to you in this case. So I will keep it now. I will play around with the format. I will keep it without 100%. I apply. Now see it's calculated here. If you look, it's coming calculated, and as highlighted, if it's calculated field, it will become with equal sign, as you can see here. This means something you added for calculation. Now we need to replicate the same for SA downlink traffic volume. So it will call SA downlink traffic volume. So you replace that nominator by SA downlink traffic volume. Now let me create it, then we can start creating our stacked area distribution. I had calculated now the other one, which is called SA share, as you can see here, and this one, right? And then SA share, right, in percentage. And again, this is a calculated field, so it will have this equal sign as I highlighted before. So now what we would like to do, you'd like to replace these two, right, with the new one, which is the share, in case you would like to get it with percentage. So you right click in the measure value on top here, right, under rows. So you right click, then you make edit filter. Then under the edit filter, remove whatever you have, then select only the metrics you need, which is called, let's say, for share, right? So you have NSA downlink traffic share, SA downlink traffic share. Now click it and click apply. You will see now that it becomes distribution. For example, the SA downlink have 0.3% and the other one have 0.6%. If you would like to do a formatting for this one to get it at percentage, simply you can just right click in the axis, Y axis, then you click format. Then you'll find in the left side here it's giving you the axis, which is numbers, for example. Now it's in numbers. So I would like to modify this numbers to percentage. So you click here, then you will get it in percentage. So once you change the percentage, you will see now it's coming here with percentage, right? But for example, here it have additional 2 digits. This is also can be modified within the same one. Click a number here, then you can reduce the decimal places, right? So for example, I make it like this one. And now it's done. You have your percentage of NSA 66%, and for sure it's moving, changing by daily basis, and the same one for here. And in case, for example, you would like to add this kind of percentage as a labels here, you need to drag and drop as I highlighted before. You have under the marks here, this area, you have all the format which you can do. For example, you need to get a label, right? So you can try two things, even to click on the label and to show mark labels. You can click this one here. It will directly telling you what kind of percentage you have here inside, as you can see. Or the other way around, in case if you like don't want to do it like this, in case of show mark labels, let's move it again. You can just take the measure values here and drag it and drop it into labels. It will be coming like this one. Now the question is, what if you would like to get it in percentage? What you need to do? For example, this one 0.66, but you would like to see it in percentage. In this case, you will need to change in the measure itself, like the data type. So you need to click, for example, in downlink traffic share, and for example, this one. And once you select both of them, right click, then you go to change data type. You could, for example, change it. Yeah, this one, default properties, number format, then you make it into percentage. Okay, then you can, for example, make it with bare one decimal and click OK. See, now it's coming, changing, as you can see, into percentage. This is how you can change the format of your metrics. So this is how you can do area distribution in different methods. And remember, if you are going to do it between two different measures, which is the green one here, whenever you drag and drop both of them, as I did in the very beginning, remember this part because this one might confuse later on. For example, I drag and drop it here, it will be directly calculated into a different metrics or different line, right? So remember this part whenever you do it, because this might confuse you later on. Okay. For example, as you can see here, we have it in two different metrics. You have the percentage, but see, now we have a confusion. If you look into the percentage is kind of confusing. It's giving both values because whenever I drop the labels here into the labels, I have it marked for all. So I need to click here. You'll find it's just also a highlight. If you click into the metric itself, you find that here it's having under the labels having the measure values, and the measure values is filtered by two KPIs, right? Which is two. That's what's giving you these two measures. So you need to remove this one from here. And also you click in the other one and remove this one from here. And you can just highlight the label of the one specific one by one, for example here, and click in labels and show mark. Now to give you the value, right? Now you have, instead of percentage, you have it as a number because I'm adding the number, the gigabyte itself, right? So this is just, remember, this kind of few tricks which can confuse you. It can make some confusion. So now let's move to the histogram part. So now let me explain how we can create histogram in Tableau. There is a direct way you can directly make it from the show me in the top right again here. Okay. First of all, as I explained many times before, you can get the explanation of how to drop it or how to draw it from show me. For example, if I click into if I click into the histogram part, it will tell you that for histogram you need to use in the measure as in this icon again in rows, which is equivalent to this one, right? You need to use the measure. So you need to drag whatever, for example, you would like to do an histogram for your speed, downlink speed or downlink throughput for the network. You need to do an histogram. Then you need to create a bin. I will explain shortly how you can do this one in order to make it per bins or whatever. So you can do this bin calculation directly from the beginning, but I would like to explain that how you can do this automatically through a Tableau without doing by yourself at the beginning, if you would like to get something quick one instead of creating. So for example, I click here in the measure. So I click whatever I need. So for example, I need to make a histogram for the downlink speed, which is this one, downlink throughput, this one. So now I would just double left click here. See, it will directly, and if you look into the top left here in the columns, as you can see in the top here, this one, this metric. If I hover over this metric, you will see it's automatic created something called, you can see bins. If I hover over, let's see. Okay, let's edit, see, because it's not coming. See the name. The name is called downlink throughput megabit per second bin. This was not already existing in my current calculation, so it's directly calculated by Tableau. If you look into here, for example, you have it being calculated, which is called bin here by Tableau. Okay, so this is created a bins, and it's drag and drop the same metric, which is called downlink throughput, right? The same one here, this one, drag and drop it here in count. So now it's giving count per bin. For example, you have different bins, as you can see in the x-axis, right? And the y-axis, you have the count per bin in order to calculate your histogram. Now, assume you would like to modify with the bins. You would like to make it, for example, different ranges. For example, if you look into this one, it's moving from 0, then 9, then 19, then 28. So it seems to moving by each 9 as a step. So let's click into, if you'd like to modify the bins, let's assume you would like to get only 5 or 10 bins. So you need to search for the calculated column, which is called bins, which is this one. Then right click, and you can make edit. Okay, see now, once you click here, you see edit bins, 5G downlink mega throughput. So for example, the size of bins, we can increase it. For example, let's assume you would like to make it per 20, right? Or 30, or even 100. So let's take it 50. So now I'm assuming that I'm expecting now my x-axis with just this one will reduce the number of histogram or number of bins because I increase the size of the bin. So now let's see what we have. See, now it's reduced. It become from 0 till it will move by 50. 0, then 50, then 200, 150, 200, and so on and so forth. You have in the left side here, you can see something called one line. This is, you can just right click and hide it. Then you can, if you would like to make it more visible, you can just modify your right click in your x-axis, make edit axis. Then, for example, whatever not being used, you can just play around with it. For example, I can make the maximum till 600 here as x-axis. So once I do this one, it will change my x-axis. It will become more visible, as you can see here. So now you have your own histogram being created. So again, if you click and show me, the histogram requirement, you need in the column, you need the bins, and then in the measure, you need your specific metric you would like to use it for the histogram, and it should be count. So now what if you would like to draw it by yourself from the beginning? So instead of using this show me. So let me remove this now, all of them. Then, for example, assume you would like to do this now for the 5G average uplink PRP utilization. So again, as highlighted by show me, you need two things. You need the measure and the rows, right? So I need drag and drop this one here. Then I make as count. For example, I will right click, left click here. Then in the measure, I can make it as count. Then here, so I have the count of all the measures. Now in the columns, we need the bins, right? Which is this one. So now we need to create a one for the 5G uplink, downlink PRP utilization. I'm using downlink PRP utilization. So now you can right click here in this one. And after you right click, you will find something called create. Under create, you will find this kind of called bins, right? So you can create in bins. So once you have it, you can just rename it whatever you need. For example, I call it 5G average, or downlink PRP bins. Okay, so I create now by, for example, let's assume per 10. I'll make the size of bench 10. So I will now click OK. So now it's created. As you can see in the top here, it's called 5G downlink VRV bands. You can drag and drop it now in columns. See, now it's being calculated. You can just remove this null. Again, right click. If you have something not showing any value, you can right click on it and just say hide or exclude even. See, now it's being hidden. So now all these values you have. Now you can see now the figure is not showing the complete sheet. So again, if you'd like to make it more visible, you need to change on the top here in this standard. Click and they make entire view. So it will give you the entire view here. What if you would like to get it with labels as I highlighted before? So you can click on labels again, right? Or and show mark here. So it will give you the count of samples here, right, for each of the bins. This means you have 65.151 samples here, 24.832, and so on and so forth. So this is how you can calculate your histogram using two different methods as I just highlighted. Now let's move forward for the CDF creation. So now let me explain how to create CDF in Tableau. Actually, as I was always explaining that you can get your charts from the top right here, the explanation of how to create a specific chart within Tableau, which is from Show Me. For example, if you click in Show Me, you will not find any information related to the CDF creation. So this is actually required kind of advanced steps in order to get it. However, it's very easy and it's just done in few steps. So let me explain step by step now how to do this. So for example, assume you would like to get the distribution, CDF distribution for the downlink throughput, which is this metric. So first of all, you need to drag and drop it, the downlink throughput, into the column, and column usually representing your x-axis. Then you need to convert it into dimension. As you can see, right click, then you click into dimension. Then you need to take the same metric because I would like to get the CDF for this one per range. So I will need to drag and drop it, for example, here into the rows. So now I have this line chart. If it's not line chart, you need to convert it from the marks here into line charts from this area. Okay, just remember that one to get it into line from here. Usually automatic, it will take the line chart as you can see here. So now you have it like this. So how you can convert this into a CDF to see the distribution? So you can right click into your rows, which is in this metric, which is now sum. So each range is summing all the samples. Right click here. Then you need to go to the, again, add table calculation from this part here. That table calculation. Then it will open this part. Now it's telling you the table calculation for the difference, and this is now doing the calculation type is different from. Now we need to get something called running total. You can see, click here and the difference from the under the calculation type. Then you get the running total. Okay. Now you get it across all the table. Okay. You can even get it from a specific dimension. Better to focus on the specific dimension. Or yeah, then you can need to add something called add a secondary calculation, which is this one. Okay. Under the secondary calculation, you'll find that here it's open another pane or data. It's called secondary calculation table, right? Which is this one again, as highlighted here, right? So this one you need to change it that to be kind of called from the total percent of total, because as you know, the idea of CDF is just take the running total of samples, then it divided by the total within this particular downlink throughput metric. So you can just get this 1% of total. Okay. Then you can select it usually based on the specific dimension. You just select it usually based on the dimension you are currently using, which is a 5 downlink throughput. Then you just close now. You see now your CDF is being compared. So if you look into the 50% here, for example, of the CDF, this means you have 50% of the samples is less than 162.1 megabit per second, right? And you can now do the comparison easy. For example, if you would like to compare between the performance of different region, you can take the top left here from the dimension, the region, and for example, drag it and drop it into the color. So for example, now it will give you the performance between different this metric, which this dimension is called region, south, north, east, central. And for example, here it's just telling you that C, which is central region, probably have the highest throughput in the ranges of 100 mega, 50 mega till around 400, and in the lower ranges of throughput, which is this one, for example, from 0 to 100, this area, specific area, You have, for example, here the area I'm highlighting, you have the green one, which is the south, have the best performance, and the low ranges of the throughput, because in CDF in general, the more you go to the right side means you have a better performance. So this means here, for example, south have a better performance compared to the other in terms of low throughput ranges, and this one central have the better performance in terms of higher throughput ranges. This is as an example. And also you can do this with other stuff like kind of comparison. Let's assume you did a change in your network and you would like to compare the performance between different dates. For example, if you drag and drop here the dates to the color, it will, for example, give you the 24, 20, 24, 2025. So, for example, in 2024, you have a better performance in the lower ranges. This means you have kind of a degradation in your network performance, which you need to check it. This is I will explain shortly. For example, if you would like to compare between a specific range of dates, how you can do that, how to create a group, and how to using the create group to compare between a specific range of dates. I will explain this one in the next session. Now, in the next part of this session. So now using the exact same CDF chart, as I just explained how to calculate it or create it. Now, for example, I would like to check the performance between a specific set of dates. For example, in my data set, if you click here in data sets in the top left here, as you can see view data under this part, if you click this one here, you'll find that here you have in date column, you have multiple dates, right? You can get the date column from here. Just move to the left, more to the left. Then you will get your date over. See, for example, date column you have from January 2025, as you know, then till from the beginning of, if you move down, for example, you started from December 2020, December 25, December 25, 2024. So, for example, you would like to compare between a specific range of dates. How you can do this one? So, if you drag and drop the dates as I explained to the color here, first, it's just taking the highest granularity of dates, which is 2024, 2025. If you right click and here into the color, which is dragged in the color, which is the legend here, if you right click here, you can convert this one to, for example, as I highlighted before, to exact to give you all the minimum granularity for all the dates. So, for example, here I'm getting all the dates starting from December 2024 till January 2025. So now this is kind of giving you a range of dates. In case if you'd like to get, yeah, for example, you would like to compare between specific two dates. So what you need to do here? You need kind of a workaround to convert the date format, which is this one, for example, into string in order to get it like a direct comparison between a specific date. So for example, I will right click on dates here, date, then I will make a duplicate version. Then I will right click again and change the type of this data, change the data type. I will make it as a string just to get it as format. Then I will replace this one, date one. I'll move it out. And then I will take the new one, which is date copy. Then it's asking here once I drag and drop it, it's asking that this kind of dates, it's having the field contains around 30 members, which is having around 30 days. So it's telling you whether you would like to add all of them or just filter some specific dates or some specific values before you add them. So let's first start with add all members. So once you do this, you'll find again all dates being plotted, but with different colors, right? So now you would like to get a specific date. Let's assume you would like to compare between 18, 19, 20, 21 with any other 4 days, for example, the same days. So you need to right click into date copy here. Then you can click filter. Then, for example, I make none. Then I go down here. I select, for example, these, let's say 21, 20. Then I compare it with, for example, 14, 13, 12, and 11, the same days, for example. So I click apply. So I have still all these days being plotted here. So what if you would like to compare the performance? Let's assume that you know that there is a change in your network or in your area or in the sales or whatever, starting from 18. And you would like to compare the performance of these 4 days with the same 4 days of the previous previous week, but to be aggregated, like one value for all the 18 to 21 and one value for 14 to 11. How you can do this? This is now where the create groups come into the figure. So what we need to do now, we need to create a group which is aggregating these 4 days, call it, for example, after, and other group which is called before for these other 4 days. So now you need to go for the same metric you're using in the legend, for example, called date copy, or even the date one, any one of these. For example, the one you would like to use it in the color, I will click, for example, the same, an original one, click in date. Then you go to the create here, then you create a group. Then once you have this one, you can go for the specific dates you would like to have. So I mentioned that you would like to create a group for 21, then 18, and I select all of them. I click shift, then all. For example, click in 21, then I click shift, then I click all, then I click in group. Then, for example, here I name it as, let's say, see, once I do this, and now it's created the group which is called January, giving all the dates. So you can control F2 or right click, rename here. Then you call it, for example, after, whatever name you would like to call it, okay? Then you would like to compare it again, as I mentioned, was 14, right? Till 11. Then you click in 14, then click shift, then select all, then create a group again, then rename this one as before, okay? So the rest of days, if you would like to create for them a group, automatic group, and if you click, for example, this one, and very important here, include other. So this include other, once you click it, actually, it will create an additional group called other for all the remaining inputs, for all the remaining dates. So I click this one here. So now you'll find that you have 3 groups: after, from 18 to 21, before, from 11 to 14, and the rest will be called other. You can drag and drop from here to here in case you would like to update from 23, or you can, I will explain how to do the edit later on, but let's first use this one, which is called after and before. I would like now to compare between after and before, which is kind of aggregated. I'll click apply. Now we need to replace this date copy with a new one, which is called date group. As you can see, the one we just created called date group. You can, by the way, rename it, right click, and just rename it whatever you would like to have. Usually, when you create a metric using create group, it will just add group in between brackets, as you can see here. So you can drag and drop now in this, instead of this color, drag and drop it here in this one. See, now it's replaced with the date copy. You have now before and after. So for example, here the blue one looks better, which means that you have a better performance, especially in the lower ranges here, right? You can, by the way, change the size of the CDF, the line, through clicking here. As I always mention, that in the marks, you can do whatever edits for the size and color and so on. Click this one, for example, reduce the size. So you will have it like in this format, as you can see here. So now you have it done here. Now, assume you would like to modify this kind of groups. How you can do this? You go to the one you created earlier, it's called this group. Right click, then you make edit group, as you can see in this part here. Once you have edit group, assume now in the after, you would like to add more days. Assume you would like to add, for example, 17 and 16. So you have two methods, even to click on both of them and drag and drop it here. Okay, so if you go down again, you'll find it's coming again. So, or you can just take them out, click on both of them and make ungroup. Or again, drag and drop it out. Or you can click on whatever days you like. For example, I need 15 to 17. I click in after, then I make a group, I click a group. So since I'm clicking here, it will add them to the after. So you'll see after now starting 14 till 21. So I'm expecting now if I click apply, the value within the chart will change. Just have a look and see. It's slightly changed as expected. As expected, slight change because you are adding more days. If you keep adding more and more days, it will keep it changing. So I keep apply. So it will slightly change. It's not very appearing, but this is now your group have additional days. So now it's giving an additional value, even it's moved to the right, much higher to the right. So this is actually explaining how you can create a group in Tableau. Now we'll move to move to the next part, which is related to the how to create average line and line constant, and also to add, for example, a reference line and so on. I'll explain this one in the next part. As I just explained how to create groups, for example, I give an example of how to create groups for the date, as shown, for example, here in the legend part, which I have after, before, and other, and each category or each group represent a specific dates, right? For example, the after representing these particular days, and you have the before these days, and you have the other, which is representing these days. Now assume you would like to get the average value as a line representation for each of these group. Okay, so you'd like to draw a line which is showing the average, overall average for all these days for each group. And also you need to plot the value of the average. So how you can do this one? So if you look into the top, very top left here, you have something called analytics, as you can see this part here, right? As I'm highlighting also in rectangle here, analytics, right? So if you click in this to this analytics here, you'll find you have multiple options. We'll be covering today only the constant line and the average under the summarize, which is this part here. Okay. So first I will be starting with the average line, which is this one. Okay. So what you need to do, very simple one, you just need to drag and drop average line here. The main idea of drag and drop the average line, it's supposed to draw a line which is calculating the average value. If you look into the add a reference line, there is a three figures here highlighted in the left top here, right, which is called table, you have pane, you have cell, and so on. So you can just drag the line to select. Table means this will be representing the complete table. This is in case you have a different pane. It will be representing a different pane, and this one in case you have a different cell. So let's try and see how we can do this one now. So I selected the cell one. Okay. So if you right click here, you see it's telling you the average speed or throughput is 73.75 as complete average for all these days. So the question is, first of all, if you right click here and click edit, the first question, what is the difference between what I just explained now, which is called the scope per pane or per cell? What's the main differences? So if you click in the current situation for each one of these, it will give you the exact same value. Here is the entire table, or pane, you'll find the line is exactly the same. There is no differences. Because simply these three is just work in case if you would like, if you have a different panes in the top here, as I will explain shortly. So now I will just keep it per pane, then I will explain. So now, as you can see, the line is just giving you the overall average, and this is what I don't want. I want three lines, one representing the average value of the gray, which is the other, one representing the line representing the average value of the before, then one line representing the average value of the after. So how we can do this one? So in this case, you need to drag and drop the group here, date group, which is you created in the legend, either to take it from the dimension here from the left side, from this part, or you can just click control in the legend and drag and drop it on top here. Okay, you can see now it's coming as three different lines, each one have a different average. For example, the first line has 74.8, you have second line 72.55, and the last one having 72.53. So as you can see, 72.55, 72.53. So first of all, I would like to show you like how you can add the values here and how you can format it. For example, right click in the line, then you will have edit. Okay. So first of all, if you'd like to add the value, you just need to give into the label here as highlighted here, right? Then I'll click in the labels. Then I'll just say value. Once I click the value, it's saying at 74.8. It's coming with a specific format. Because I added it before, I'll explain how you can change the format of these later on. Also, here in the value part, you see this line value. You can make it even average, maximum, minimum, or even median. So let me show you. If you click here, you will see total, sum, constant, minimum, average, maximum. So whatever you would like to do for this line, if you give maximum, it gives you the maximum value, which is reached within all these days, or the average. For example, if I click into maximum, you'll see now it's giving you the maximum one, which is here reaching 81.3, this one 82.269, and this one 79. And you give the low, for example, as you know, the minimum, it will give you the minimum line here. So here in our case, we would like to have the average one, right? So I click OK now. So now if you would like to format the line itself, you can just, or the values, you can just right click and go to format. It will again, and you see in the top here, it's having the kind of all the format you would like to do. For example, here you have the line format. I can change the color. For this one example, I make it green. Okay, then you can increase the thickness of that line. For example, as you can see here, now it's changing here the thickness of line. Then you can play around with this, the density of the line. So this is for the line part. This is, for example, if you'd like to highlight a specific area. For example, if you click above, it will just highlight all the areas above, or the below, it will highlight all the areas below here. This in case you would like to get the different colors. So I will just go back for that part. Now for the text within this one, you can just play around with this one. You change the text here. For example, I make it bold, I move the bold, I make it again 12. I reduce it, the size, see it will be reducing. Here it's just, I change it to 12. Then, for example, move the bold. It will be coming like this. Then I make it, for example, as red color, as you can see. Here, this is again just to make it visible or not visible, as you can see. And the last part, which is related to shading, like would like to make the shading around this one. For example, I would like to make it with black color. Okay, then I would like, for example, to increase the density or not, as you can see here just now. Okay, so this is just about the formatting. Now the last part, as explained in the beginning, if you right click again, so again, what is the main exact differences between entire table or per pane or per cell? Per pane, since I added the date group in the columns, it's divided this one into 3 different pane, right? Other, before, and after, correct? So if I make an entire table, this means you will lose this kind of average per pane. So now you're getting per pane, you're getting an average. So if I click entire table, it will give you just one line for the complete table, as you can see. All of them. It will not consider per pane. If I make it per cell, this means it will consider the average for each and every single day, which is not really yeah, this one again giving the average per cell, which is again similar to what we just would then per pane, because this is considered also as a cell wise as well. So per cell and per pane in this case is they're similar because we are using the dates in a continuous matter, so it's considering these pane and cell as the same, this categorization. But I will show in next few minutes what is the main differences between per pane and per cell. This can be like useful in some specific scenarios. But the main one, this one you should use per pane because you would like to get average per pane here. Okay, so this is about the average line. What if you would like to have a constant line? For example, let's move back to the CDF. Okay. And as you would like to get a constant line, you would like to compare the performance at 50%. So you need to get a line here at 50%. And for example, you would like to have another line at 150 mega. So what you can do? You can go again to the top right here, analytics, right? So you can click on this one. You can click drag and drop constant line. It's having similar figure. So first of all, if you drag and drop, let's make back for this one again. So let's again drag and drop the constant line here. So it'll give you two options, right? Either to make it based on the sum, or to make it based on the we can rig it, for example, here based on this one, which is the columns, which is x-axis, or based on y-axis, depending on whatever you need. For example, I would like to do it based on y-axis, which is a sum one, right? So now I'm expected to give me axis, as you can see here in the line, giving you starting from 0. So for example, I would like to start from 50%. So you have the value here, you can change it directly to 0.5 to be starting from a C 50%, right? This is the main idea of the constant line. So if you right click again and make an edit, you can change it, for example, to whatever values you want. For example, 0.7 and change it, and it will give you the average value here. Sorry, the constant line as 0.7. If you would like to draw another one in the x-axis, you can do the same method, just drag and drop it again, but this time to make it, for example, here. Okay, so for example, let's say I would like to get it at this cross point to cross the horizontal and the vertical line, so I'll give this one as 200. So now I'm expecting to get a line at 200, or I can even get a line here at this area, which is 209. For example, here, 209. You see now it's giving you a cross line in case you would like to visualize something. Also, you can do it another way, remove, and just right click in the axis itself and add the reference line, as you can see here, this one. And once you add a reference line, you can just say a constant one, change the value to constant. Then once change the value to constant, you can just give, for example, as we just made, 209. So it will again give the line 209. Or after doing this one, now it's done. You click OK. So now you can do the same here as well for right click and the reference line. So this, instead of going to the analytics, which is highlighted on the top here, you can do it through selecting the axis and right click and add the reference line. So this is for the constant line. The last part in this session I would like to highlight, for example, it's about the formatting. Now, for example, when you are using dates and you would like to get this average, this kind of a space between the each category is kind of not very good for the visualization, or not like very beautiful, you can say. So how you can make this one a better format, I will show you this one in the next part. Then I will be ending by how to export image or data for this particular worksheet. So this part is more about sign kind of some formatting. As I mentioned, that you have this average line per category or per group, but still you have many spaces because you are using the dates in a continuous format. I explained before what the difference between the continuous and discrete. Discrete is simply giving you a label, while this one giving a continuous date. So usually for the dates, we're using the discrete part. But in this particular category, in case you would like to make it more visible and much better clear here, better to use discrete, but you will face some challenges. So let's try to change again the date format. If you click on the date, right click, then you click into discrete. See, now it's giving you, like, as you can see, the dates here, each one will be different category. It became like a label. But sometimes it will not be coming like this one. It will be coming, for example, you'll find it like here. If I drag and drop here, you'll find it's because it's not continuous, so maybe it will, the start and the end point will not be same. So in order to make it like moving into the sequence or the correct chronological way, so we need to drag and drop, for example, click in before. So this one is starting with 23 December, so this one should be the first one. You click here and other, then you take it, drag and drop in the very left, which is very friendly. Also, this one ending till 7 January, so we're expecting the next one to be 8 January, so this one is correct. Sometimes it might come like this. So you need to make sure that this one, whenever you convert the date into discrete, this one is arranged in the correct way. So now you do drag and drop the before into here. So you move from 23 December to 7 January, moving in the correct manner now, right? So now you have, see, the dates now, all of them are coming. The format is becoming much, much more clear. So for example, now if you change the same line into columns from this marks on the left side here, right? So let me change it to columns. So now see, it will be even looks more better. As you can see, this one average line 74, 72.55, 72.53. So again, if you change the date to continuous, it will looks like much more in different way, which is not the one you want. See, you have many gaps here in the middle, right? So better to do it, as I mentioned, whenever I work on this, I would like to get a more clear visualization, just convert the dates in this case into discrete and to get it in this kind of format. Now the last part, assume now you'd like to export this image here, right? So you can, in usual case scenario, you just take a snapshot, but there is a good way here in Tableau as well, where you can just right click in the figure. You'll see this kind of different options. You have copy, you can just click copy. You have see image or data or cross tab. So for example, I would like just to take the image. So if you click into the image, it will give you a different options here, giving you what kind of things you would like to get. So you would like to get the figure with title, including the average, for example, constant line as highlighted here. This is the title. And also you need the view and the color legend, for example, this legend. You would like to get it in the image or not. And also the caption, okay? The view is the one which is in the middle here, which is the picture itself. And this one, if you removed it, this means you will have nothing. You will just get copy for the title and the legend mainly. Okay. So in this one, in case if you have any comments, which we don't have it now. So for now, let's keep it all as it is. And the image options here, you would like to get the option on the right side, the legend on the right side, as you can see, or the legend in the top right side is this tagged way, or in the bottom left, or in the bottom left in this way. So this is just changing the parts you would like to. So for example, if I click in this one, then I click copy now. What I'm expecting to get, I'm expecting to get now a copy from pictures, which is the same as the one highlighted here. Click copy. So for example, I'll just, once I got a copy, I can just paste it in anywhere, for example, in Tableau, in PowerPoint, in Excel, or whatever, just Control V. See, so now you're getting your complete image in a better visualization, which is including the average line, the legend, and so on and so forth. So this is how you can copy the image. If you copy the data, you can get it into CSV. Let me quickly take you into this to see how you can do this as well. So going back to Tableau now, if you right click again, you will get copy. So if you got the data, now you can just add it to an Excel or C0. Let's try and see. Click data, copy, then data. So you can just, for example, I open an Excel sheet. If I just paste it here, Control V, you'll see that you got your data here as from 23 till 21. You have the date group and you have the average of the speed, as you can, sorry, the speed per day, as you can see. So this is an example for how you can copy image and data. And again, you can do this part instead of right clicking here, because sometimes there will be no enough space to right click and just get the information. You can just get it from the top left here, from this part, worksheet, called worksheet here. If you click in the worksheet here, you can just again do the same, copy image or data, or even you can export image or data. If you make data, it will just export it in a file. If you export image, it will export it again into image, for example, PNG or any other format. So that's all about today's session, which is session number 2. I hope if you like the content to press like and to share it and to spread the word. And stay tuned for the next session about Tableau training, which will be session number 3, where we'll be start going into more advanced details. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.